Yes, what's happening, people? Welcome back to GAA Fan TV, the show that keeps you up to date with everything that's happening in the world of GAA football and hurling. And yeah, guys, the Super 8's Championship is on the way. It kicks off this weekend, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm absolutely buzzing for this weekend's action. You've got, just two group stages, eight, really strong teams. They're all going to be battling it out. We're going to see a number of games. I think, for this to happen in the GAA football, we've seen the success of it, in my opinion, in hurling, and I think we're going to see that in GAA as well. And I think to see teams like Dublin as well, stepping outside Croke Park, travelling up to the likes of Omagh when they take on Tyrone, I think that's going to be very, very interesting. In this video, I'm going to break down all eight teams. I'm going to break down their chances, their hopes, and where I think they will finish in the groups. So we'll start off with Group 1. You've got Dublin, Donegal, Roscommon, Tyrone. In my opinion, this is like the group of death. I think this is the much tougher of the two groups. And I say that because you've got Tyrone who are coming in, building a lot of momentum from their qualifier run. I think they learned a lot when they nearly got beaten by Meath, and of course last year's All-Ireland semi-finalists and Ulster Championship winners. Of course then you've got Dublin, current All-Ireland winners, won it 3 times in a row. They're the team to beat at the moment. And then of course you've got Roscommon, last year's Connacht Championship winners, in the Connacht final again this year. Very good attacking team, be very difficult to beat. And then of course you've got Donegal, who not many people would have expected to be here. They're certainly the surprise package in this group, because they won the Ulster Championship very, very easily. And we'll start off by talking a bit about Donegal and their hopes in this Super 8's Championship. And I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, what a turnaround for Donegal. They had a miserable championship last year, going out in the qualifiers, beaten I think it was by Galway. They were absolutely hammered by Galway last year. Went into Division 1, got relegated, put in some good performances, but in the overall context of things, it just still wasn't good enough from their standards. And yeah, they go into the Ulster Championship and they absolutely breeze through. Now, the only thing I would say is they didn't come up against any of the big teams. They didn't come up against Tyrone, and Monaghan, and Armagh. They didn't manage to face any of them, but you can only beat what's in front of you. And they faced every challenge very, very comfortably. And they've still got some players in there from their All-Ireland winning team back in 2012. Or back in, was it 2012? I think it was 2012. Michael Murphy, of course. You've got, I think it's Ian McHugh, or Ryan McHugh, very, very good player. And the speed to Donegal play, where you can tell they're preparing for this, they're getting ready for it, and they will give Dublin a very, very good go this weekend, and they will give anyone a really, really good run for their money, in my opinion. I do think they're the weakest of the 4 teams. I think between them and Roscommon, in my opinion. But speaking of Roscommon, obviously very, very good attacking team, one of the best attacking teams in the country when they hit it off. The only problem for Roscommon is that, in the Connacht Championship this year, they haven't they've only had one real test in playing Galway, and they were very, very good in the first half, but as soon as Galway switched their tactics and started attacking them, Roscommon looked very, very leaky in defence. And I think for Roscommon, coming up against the likes of Dublin in Croke Park, coming up against the likes of Tyrone and even Donegal, I think they will struggle with just how good these teams are. These teams are on another level to some of the teams they've played already. They do have experience, of course, from winning the Connacht Championship last year, from having a very good Division 2 campaign, but I do feel like, although they've got very good players like Conor Devaney, very good manager, and Kevin McStay, who's done a wonderful job at Roscommon, I do think they'll struggle coming up against the likes of Dublin, coming up against the likes of Tyrone. And speaking of Tyrone, they've had a very interesting campaign, because obviously they put in a very good performance when they played Monaghan, but they were beaten, of course, by a very good Monaghan performance, and obviously went into the qualifiers, came up against Meath, were seconds away from being beaten, turned it around, and had a couple of tricky games in there in the qualifiers, the likes of Carlow. I think it was Laois they played as well. I don't think it was Laois, it was who was it they played? I can't remember who else they played, to be honest with you, but they've played very, very well. Their attacking display has been fantastic. They're starting to get their players more into the game. And yeah, they're looking very, very good at the moment, in my opinion. Tyrone, it was looking like originally the loss of Sean Kavanagh would affect them going into this campaign, but Mickey Hart, the experienced manager who's done it, he's been there before. I do feel like for Tyrone, with this group of players that they have, they've been knocking on the door for a long time, but it's just, it's that final hurdle. It's winning a semi-final, it's beating one of the big teams, getting to an All-Ireland final, I think is the only thing that represents success for them, in my opinion. Obviously then you've got Dublin, 3 times All-Ireland champions, going into this campaign in wonderful form. They've just got so much players everywhere, and Paul Mannion, and Dean Rock. You've got Bernard Brogan, who's coming back from injury. Stephen Cluxton's going to be back as well, a fit in goal. You've just got an array of players, just so many talented players just everywhere in that team. Players like Cormac Costello, who can come off the bench and kick a couple of points. Just a lot of talent, to take one of their strongest players like Dermot Connolly, one of the best players in the game, out of Dublin and have that not even affect them just shows how strong they are. And I think having 2 games in Croke Park is really going to suit them. I think having the first game in Croke Park and the last game in Croke Park, they couldn't have really asked for much more there, really, in my opinion. And yeah, I think Dublin will make it through. I think they'll finish first in this group, in my opinion. They could draw a game, they could even lose a game here in this group, but I just see them being too strong for Donegal and Roscommon and winning those 2 games, and I think they'll just edge it when they play Tyrone as well. But this will benefit Dublin massively as well, just to get those tough games under their belt, in my opinion. I'm going to go for Tyrone as well to finish second. I think they'll have just a bit too much for Roscommon and Donegal. I think Donegal will finish third and Roscommon will finish fourth, but I think there won't be too much in between them. But yeah, really looking forward to this group, in my opinion. I think it's going to be very, very interesting to see how things play out. Then moving across to Group 2, in probably one of the lesser groups, you've got a very young Kerry team, who, to be fair, have been outstanding in the Connacht or in the Munster Championship. You've got a team like Kildare, who nobody expected to be in the Super 8's Championship. I mean, what a turnaround they've had from struggling massively, being beaten by Carlow, being embarrassed, not winning a game within a year. What a turnaround for them. And then you've also got Monaghan, who have come through the qualifiers, have done very, very well. Couple of difficult tests along the way, but pulled through. And then of course you do have Galway, of course, Connacht champions. So probably lesser teams in quality, but I do think that Kerry will comfortably win this group, in my opinion. I just think I've looked at them in the Munster Championship. They've looked very, very strong, in my opinion. Lots of young players coming through, the way they move the ball. They absolutely hammered Clare, hammered Cork. They're hitting numerous amount of points at the moment, and they're looking very, very dangerous, and certainly the biggest challengers to Dublin this year, in my opinion. So I reckon they will win this group pretty comfortably. Second spot for me is up for grabs, because you've Kildare coming in with a lot of momentum. They're not going to fear anyone. They've beaten, of course, Mayo in what was an outstanding performance, in my opinion. One of the best performances I've seen from Kildare in a long, long time. So they are certainly contenders. Monaghan are one of them teams that, when they're on it, they're very, very good, but they do have an off day. We've seen that against Fermanagh, and whether to trust they'll be consistent enough in this Super 8's Championship is another thing. Galway, on the other hand, with the experience that they have from winning a Connacht Championship, getting to a league final, the amount of games they've had, yeah, it's going to be pretty tough. Of course, Galway with just some outstanding players, the likes of Shane Walsh in that team as well. So yeah, going to be very, very close. I think it's going to be between Galway and Kildare, in my opinion, as to who finishes in second. I think Monaghan will probably finish bottom, but I'm going to go with Kildare I'm going to go with Kerry and Galway to go through. I just think they'll have a bit too much in the end, and yeah. But yeah, guys, that is going to be the end of the video. So let me know what you think is going to happen in the Super 8's Championship this year. As always, drop a like, subscribe, leave a comment, let me know what you thought of the video. But yeah, guys, I'm buzzing for the Super 8's Championship. I'm really interested to see how some of these games go. And yeah, I'll catch you all next time.